Hello everyone. I would like to talk about a very interesting concept which I like to call divine patterns. And what that means is I want to talk about some methods in which the rational mind can explore consciousness. And it begins with an ability to find yourself in many ways. You see, we can feel we're disturbed, we can feel we're limited, but I tend to walk undisturbed, so I suggest you walk with me in such a way, because a lot of disturbance is usually self-created. What that means is I realize that internally I have an ability to withstand my external conditions, and that is what a lot of innate knowing and also experiences have given you, you see. So an experience is a greater teacher, and therefore the way you're experiencing your ideas now will eventually change in multiple ways. What that means is sometimes you may think that you're an idea. Sometimes you might feel you're not in an idea. Sometimes you might feel this world is, sublime. Sometimes you might feel you're somewhere else. Sometimes you might have many different feelings. And you see, it's because the mind has an ability to recreate many things if you are dependent on that form of sensual information. If you're depending on your senses, of course you can go and do many things, But if you're immediately just focusing on that, you will be stuck in the dilemma of thinking that you don't know if your senses or not. You must have a practice. What that means is that the human being can think of a solid shape and just observe it. You can concentrate. And what that means is you begin to see variation in a lot of the stuff that would look the same to you. And you begin realizing how if you had looked differently at something else, it could have changed your whole vision. So the eyes that we think we have are simply the thoughts that are present in certain moments. So we are an awareness that is observant of our thoughts. Our memory is aware of itself, regardless of the physical machine. The physical machine is working fine, and I have no argument against it. I am in no way saying that one thing is not important and something else is. I am saying there is both importance and non-importance based on who you are, so be self-aware. And realize that a lot of the times when you feel out of control is because there's a sense of self in there that is not you, that is from another person. There's another person's voice in your mind. And what that means is that you must put the living on pause for a second and feel your being, and then realize a better way to believe. I guess this is my view. I'm not an expert except of my own mind. Therefore, reality, regardless of its compartmentalization, begins with you. And so you're your most immediate category. And so you see where you belong. You see if what letter you are, in what word, in what sentence, in what paragraph, on what page, in what book, and in whose mind, and with whose pen, and from whose mind. So these questions are deep, and I like asking deep questions because if I ask a simple one, I figure it out, so eventually it just gets deep. So with this approach, we walk to see that you must at some point allow yourself to experience your thoughts being a bit intimidating to you. What that means is that fear is natural. Don't think you need a self-help book. Just understand that just like how you're walking and you step on, let's say, gum or something, it's just like that. It's a discomfort. It's taking you out of a certain state, so get yourself back to that state. So even if I do get angry, you know, I tend to not usually, but sometimes, let's say if I do, sometimes let's say someone comes up and they're so angry that they make you angry when talking to you, you know? And so I see after that, I quickly bring myself back to that state. And what that is I first understand that I forgive myself for being confused enough to fight or express that kind of emotion at that moment. But at the same time, I also see what I can contribute. Because if man has more to give than he takes, life is a better way, you know? If all these 7 billion people were just pouring out amazing ideas based on their unique states of experience, man would have a greater knowledge of life.